Let's go to a rock and roll instrumental on Billboard's Hot 100 of March 10th, 1960. It's back to the sock hop years once again. Yes. Yes. Let's go to it right now. The Frantics with Werewolf at number 92, down from 83 the previous week. The Frantics from, I believe they're from Seattle. They're up from Washington State. The Frantics, they started out as a duo called the High Fives. That was back in 1955. High school students. Ron Peterson on guitar and Chuck Schoening on saxophone. Did a little bit of research on the Frantics and came across a pretty interesting story. Of course, you got to understand, back in the late 50s, rock and roll was unacceptable for a lot of adults. Hardly anyone over 30 years old liked rock and roll. They came from the big band era. Rock and roll was primitive. There's usually like four guys playing in a group where they're used to bands with 10, 20 people playing, and there's one person singing in front, and it's just was quite of a change, a seismic change. Well, anyway, these guys, they did honky tonk at a school assembly. They played honky tonk at a school assembly. The vice principal came up to them and said, "If you play honky tonk again, one more time, you're going to get kicked out." Well, guess what they did? They played honky tonk at another school assembly. Second school assembly, they got kicked out of school. Juvenile delinquents. That's like that song. It was Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers who did "I'm a Juvenile Delinquent." But they evolved into the Four Frantics as they added a saxophone player. No, I take that back. They added a bass player and they added a drummer. Signed with Dalton Records, a Seattle-based record company. One of the owners of Dalton Records was Bonnie Guitar. You might remember, if you go back to the sock hop years, Bonnie Guitar had a country pop crossover hit with Dark Moon, which was also covered by Gail Storm. A lot of artists covered each other back in the 50s, or covered would do covers of the same song back in the 50s. Gosh. But anyway, one of their biggest signings, Dalton Records, one of their biggest signings, the Fleetwoods. Come Softly to Me, Mr. Blue off the Dalton record label. They also signed the Finchers. The Finchers, Vic Dana was also on the Dalton record label, and so was the Frantics. Frantics had several sides recorded for the Dalton record label, and let's go to the chart position right now on this song by the Frantics, on this instrumental rather. Werewolf by the Frantics peaked at number 83. That is it. On Billboard's Hot 100 for just 2 weeks. That's it. The Frantics. Werewolf. Number 92 on Billboard's Hot 100 of March 10th, 1960.